Is that like sitar or something? I can barely hear it. Carlos is going Ravi Shankar on us.
I wish. Everybody out there, welcome to the first Betrayal campaign. I'm your DM, Carlos A.S. Lysing. Over here on my right is Bricks and Beholder's Bane, a.k.a. Matthew Lazinski. How you doing, Matthew?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, man. And over there on my left, David Aho, Ariane Marquesas. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing just a peachy.
Awesome, man. So, happy 4th of July, everybody out there who's celebrating it. I'm glad you guys could tune in to us, whoever is out there watching. I've got 2 of my players tonight. The rest, everybody is doing either things with their families or they've got other previous engagements. So it's just going to be my 2 players plus NPCs, which should be a lot of fun. The guys, when they last left off, had a couple interesting things going on. I don't know if anyone remembers or not, but...
recap.
Yep, time for a recap. During our last game, everyone was at the small town where a local wizard had instituted an arena in which they could, which their people could gamble on fights between adventurers. Well, the pirate captain of the Nereid Shawl, who is assisting our players, kind of pressed them into service to go up there and fight because she had a large wager placed behind them. They fought, they won. They managed to get a lot of magical gear that's pretty cool. But in the meantime, right now, they're in the process of trying to get trained. And as a result, there are very few illusionists locally, they've discovered. Brixton, being an illusionist right now, is having a hard time with that. So the pirate captain, whose name is Charissa de Tendresse, decided, hey, I found somebody for you. She's located on a small island not far from the Retikian coast, in which you can go ahead and get trained. She also says that there might be something of value for Ariane to see there.
All right.
She's been a little bit cagey about what that might be, but it's been nebulous. Now, Ariane, in the last episode, as many of you know that have been watching the other episodes of First Betrayal have seen, one of our other players, Jeremy Brazil, who's playing Rainmar the Wildlight, has recently restored to life a temple in the remote temple up in the mountains of Radek. This temple, he has found out, is dedicated to the Greek gods Hades and Persephone. Well, he has found out that by glorifying it, he's brought the eyes of the Greek pantheon onto this area. The other gods of the other pantheons that are native to Greyhawk are not happy about that. Some of them have even gone so far as to either contact players through intermediaries or have done so directly. In the case of Bricks and Beholder's Bane, he got a chance to see Baravan Cloakshadow the other day, the gnomish god, who told him that Rainmar cannot be allowed to do this. It would cause war on Earth between the gods, the humans and the humans, everyone. The gods and the gods, it would be cataclysmic. In the meantime, David Aho, Ariane Marquesas, was contacted by an avatar of Alona, who is his goddess, and received a similar message. Now, when we last left our intrepid heroes, David and Ariane had sent off, quite some time ago, a letter. He is a member of the Retikian Border Guard and Mountaineers, and he'd sent a message to get some reinforcements from them. The reinforcements finally arrived in our last episode in the form of 3 Rangers that have told him that they will assist him in his various endeavors. They thought that they would be going down south to help with the Procan's Eye project that they're involved with. However, since everyone is making a move to maybe going to see this illusionist to hopefully get Brixton trained, that may have been thrown for a little bit of a loop. Now, one of these Rangers' name is Lightning. Lightning is a halfling, a no-nonsense, kind of a tough halfling who doesn't really mince many words. As of at the end of the last episode, she and Brixton went upstairs to his room, and there was an intimate scene that followed between the two of them.
Just a little bit of nonsense.
Just a little bit of nonsense, but more than you probably bargained for, which we'll cover here in a second.
Drunken nonsense.
Now, David, before you went to bed that night, was there anything?
What were the other 2 Rangers' names? I can't remember. I lost a sheet that I got or misplaced.
Okay. Kelbeck is the man's name, and Savant is the elf's name.
Okay.
So they are. Was there anything else that you wanted to accomplish, David, before you went to sleep that night?
I don't know if we want to do this in game, or I just want to put it as a blanket. I wanted to do a detect magic on the stuff that we had gotten.
Okay.
So as a big group, so I could pick mark on which ones might be magical and.
Okay.
And I don't know if I can figure out and if that's actually able to do. You can actually pick out approximate swings of
what it can do.
Magic online.
Yeah, the detect magic in this particular case, what it will be able to do is it will be able to discern what is magical and what is not. It will tell you what type of magic it is, and you may be able to get a relative strength off of it.
Okay, because I'm just worried. I want to be able to serve because of some of the. You had the evil magi and the priestess of Ayas, and these guys are evil guys, people.
Right.
So it's like I really don't want to start using something that might give a good backlash to anybody playing around with it.
Here's the problem with that: if you were to cast detect evil on the stuff, unless it was an aligned item and had an intellect behind it or something,
right?
That's how it would give you a reading. But if it's just a random evil item, it could still affect you and not read as evil.
Well, I'm saying if being a cleric detecting magic might be a little bit different from detecting magic as a magic user.
It is.
I was thinking that because, say, I'm neutral good, I might get a better feel for this is more acceptable of a magic item than this would be.
It's true. It's true.
I know it's not going to be accurate, but I just want to know if that was something that how you play or not.
Yeah. Well, you just pretty much got what you're going to get.
Okay.
So the detect magic process, I'm going to actually leave that for the next day when you guys wake up. Being that I don't remember you memorize it. You praying for detect magic.
No, that's. But so, I wanted to do this, and then I don't know how long it's going to take us to get to that island.
Okay. Well, the next day,
it's going to be all of you
got. I need to know first of all what everyone is going to memorize. Brixton, what do you got?
I'm going to do. I get 2, right?
Yep.
Well, David, are you gonna detect the magic on them then?
I didn't think illusionists could.
Some of them can't, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You're a special one.
Yeah.
A very special one.
Well, here I'll do identify twice.
Okay.
And then my cancer.
He's got identify. That's different than detect magic.
It's very different than detect magic.
Very different. Yeah. But if we
instead of doing something like identify, how about have me detect magic first? And then go from there and figure out what would be the best thing to identify from those.
That's why I took 2 identifies instead of a detect magic and identify.
Oh. Okay.
So that you can detect the magic and then I can identify.
Pretty sound strategy. Is that what you guys want to do then?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll do haze and 2 delusion
Okay.
and fire finger for my cantrips.
Excellent. All right. So when you wake up,
as far as my spells, other than
okay.
detect magic, I'm going to do 1 cure light, a command, and leveling the bow.
Okay, good. All right, everybody. So you go ahead and you memorize your spells for the morning. I want to go a little bit further back, though. Brixton, when you wake up the next morning, you feel like you slept in the back of a cement mixer. She is, Lightning is very aggressive. She's very passionate. She's very, it was probably the greatest experience you've ever had. She's outstanding. All 3'6" of her, and she pretty much demolished you over the course of about 5 hours before you went to sleep.
I believe it.
Yeah, well, you could tell she was a little bit disappointed in your lack of constitution by the end, but
well, I mean,
yeah,
we should go close to sex on the beach next time, you know.
Well, when you wake up the next morning, she's gone. She isn't there. She's already left. So it gives you a chance to study your spells. Area by contrast, when you wake up, you're by yourself, and you're able to you're about ready to get ready to pray for your spells, and there's a knock on your door.
In other words, that this is not exactly your kid game today again.
No, not exactly. Not exactly. There's a knock on your door.
Do I recognize the knock? Some of them do.
Not really. But
Okay.
you do hear a voice behind it that tells you who it is pretty quickly. Melina's voice comes through the door. She's like, Ariane, are you awake yet?
Come on in.
She opens the door. She's got a platter in her hand. It's got a bunch of fruit and vegetables on it. And she puts it down on the desk in there. She looks over at you. She says, have you prayed for your spells yet this morning?
Yes, I have.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm just a little bit late then. I thought we could perhaps pray for them together. It's all right, though. I've just brought breakfast anyway.
Okay.
Well, I'll leave you be then, because I need to get...
Well, no, if you want, join me.
Okay, well, I need to get to work then, because I don't want to... I guess Charissa's downstairs, and she's making noise about us leaving as soon as we can.
Oh, so okay. So you want? Well, what were you gonna? Well, I tell her what I've memorized. So if you want to compliment that.
Well, she looks at you and she says, I'm not... I don't cast priestly spells. I was just going to pray with you.
I keep forgetting because I ended up working with her. I thought down in the gnome.
Right, but she just did it from a theological sense, not a priestly sense.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, she says, I just was thinking I would pray with you.
What were you? What was she studying? I mean, if she's, but she said that she's going to pray for him. What the heck?
Yeah, she says, yes, I'm a devout believer in Alona, and I think all things spring from her. So,
okay.
In conjunction with memorizing my spells, I'm going to pray as well.
Okay.
Shrugs. Anyway, the two of you guys end up praying together, eating breakfast. It's pretty good. Little bit non-meaty for you, Ariane, but that's all right. You don't think that she's a vegetarian per se, but she probably was thinking to herself that praying to Alona while not eating something that she hunted for herself was probably not appropriate. Brixton, in the meantime, you head downstairs once you get dressed and you memorize your spells. Downstairs, the whole crew is there. It is Charissa. It is the two rangers. Lightning is there as well. Lightning's at the bar already. You can see she's already got some kind of libation in her hand she's drinking.
Probably.
You do not see either Kalaya, nor do you see John Paul when you're down there. Charissa sees you, and she kind of just gives you a little tip of her hat on your way down.
I do the tip of my hat, too. But then I point at my feather.
She nods. She says, it's a good look for you. Well, she says, my understanding is that you wanted to take care of some business as far as your loot goes. Hmm?
Yeah.
She nods.
We did.
Good. She says, I think that the best place to do that is away from prying eyes, perhaps aboard the ship.
That's what I was thinking.
She nods. That's a good idea.
And possibly even as we travel.
Oh, but that's a good idea too, because I'd like to get going as soon as possible. I don't suspect that we're going to have too bad of weather if we get going in a hurry. The longer we tarry, the more I suspect that we're going to have a problem. She's got a map rolled out in front of herself on the table, and you're kind of looking at it. The map is the one that you're capable of seeing right now on Twitch if you're looking at it.
Okay.
And on it, there's a circle that you're going to be able to see right now. And she looks at it and she says, that is our destination.
And where are we?
She says, currently we're just on the inside of the coast. Do you see where the large inlet is? That's Marner. We're maybe about 10 miles south of that right now.
Cool, okay.
She says, so I expect this to be a relatively short trip. It's about 70 miles. We will be in barbarian lands, with frost barbarians dwell. So she nods and looks at the two of you, or excuse me, the snow barbarians dwell. Looks at you, Brixton, and says that we're going to do whatever we can to avoid seeing them, though. They're very territorial, and if they see our ship, I'm not sure how they'll react. Meanwhile, Arion and
that's way up there, isn't it?
Yeah, Arion, you and Melina come downstairs.
Okay.
Melina has told you at the end of your prayers that Kalaya, and she seems a little maybe miffed by it, but she says that Kalaya and John Paul seem to have hit it off pretty well, and they're exploring the rest of this town together. They won't be coming with you today.
Okay.
Yeah, she says, in fact, they're not even at the inn any longer. She says she kind of gives you the impression that Kalaya is difficult to manage, so she kind of just does whatever she wants.
Oh, I tell in the same conversational type of tone, it's like, she's her own person. You gotta let her do what she wants to do.
I know, but we're just so very different, and we're relying on her. We're relying on her.
That's understandable, but you do your own thing, she does her own thing. You can't. I'm not to be prying or being lecturing, but it seems like you're doting on her more and on whatever she does more than normal. In a normal situation, you're your own person. You're doing your own ideas, making your own decisions and everything. As soon as you get around her, it seems like you get this, chastised puppy type of vibe going on.
She almost looks a little wounded. She almost looks a little wounded when you say that, and her response.
I say it's not necessary. I understand it, but it's like you got to be yourself.
You have to understand this, she says. Kalaya and I, much like most of the people from our order, were war orphans. Most of us had parents or guardians or what have you that were killed in the war to the south. And for better or for worse, our order took advantage of that and took us in. She's all I really have. And I don't know, perhaps I put too much faith in our relationship. I place too much importance on it.
No, you're reading into it a little different. What I'm saying is like, don't. So you say you're putting more into it. Mm-hmm. Keep that feeling of intensity, that belonging, but don't make sure that your personality requires that all the time. You know what I'm trying to say?
Lightning stands up from the bar, puts her mug down, puts 2 silvers down, tosses them across the counter, turns around and says, Well, since we're done now with the family bonding, can we all get going?
I don't know, maybe. What I and in the same stride, it's like let's say guitar dresser or
Yeah.
whatever. She's there, right?
Yeah, she's there. She's just listening she's just kind of listening a little bit with some interest to what you're saying.
Right. What I just sort of, basically pass on. Is like, look, if you want, we'll talk about later type of idea.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to talk to her, and because I think after our arena bit, she had said something about how, if we're getting any kind of like a combat situation type of thing, that we would be supplemented with some possible healing potions and some other miscellaneous things too.
Yeah, Sharissa has mentioned something to that effect.
Yeah, I couldn't remember who it was that said that. I just remember
Sharissa mentioned something to that effect. She looks at the whole group of you. She says, "I'd rather discuss matters of business aboard the ship once we're away."
That's fine. I just want to do it before we got there, in case we need to.
She kind of looks around and she says, "There's too many ears here and too many people I don't trust."
Right. I lower my voice. I just wanted to bring it up in case we needed to get something here in town.
I'll be on the boat anyway.
She looks over at you. Kind of makes a little face. She goes, "You look a little chipper this morning."
It looks a little worse for wear.
That's what I meant. Sharissa stands up and leads you guys outside of the bar and down the street to the boat. You see a couple. As you get to the boat, you're passing by a few people. There's a big banner that's hanging on the pier as you walk to your boat, and it looks like it's hand drawn, decorated, painted. It says "Property of the Death Cupcakes."
One question.
Mm-hmm.
The equipment that we had gotten from everybody from the arena, is that already on the boat, or are we going to have to lug it there?
It's already on the boat. If you remember correctly, Sharissa said that she wanted to take it to the boat, so it was a little bit in a secure spot.
Okay. What about this egg that I've got? You said the box is huge?
The box is huge.
Okay, so I'm sitting there staggering with this thing.
Yeah, the box is huge. You take it to the everybody. Actually, as you start to leave the bar with it, the rest of the Rangers decide that they're going to help you with it. They're like, "You shouldn't have to carry that by yourself. That's ridiculous."
I'm guessing it's probably, what did you say, like about 3 by 2 by 3 or thereabouts?
Yeah, and it's pretty heavy too. So the whole bunch of you guys end up leaving, and you get on board your boat. As you do, David, I'm going to resize you here a little bit. As you do, you guys get to the boat.
If you care to shave a few pounds off, too, that'd be really nice.
If I could do that, buddy, I would be doing something other than this particular job here. But anyway, your whole crew gets aboard the boat, and it's not long before Sharitza's crew has you up and out away from the coast. What's that, Brixton?
I'm gonna go with Aurora for the first little bit.
Okay, you instead of going on the boat, you go ahead and you go with Aurora, who is waiting over in the shallows by the boat. You go over there and you get on Mount Aurora. You get that sensation of joy coming through your connection, and there's something about the connection between a familiar and a magi that's different than just even normal telepathy, because it has all this emotional content with it.
Yeah.
Where when words don't get in the way and everything is pure feeling and sense, it is a really, really, it's very, a very intimate kind of a connection, because everything is laid bare. All fears, all doubts, all hopes, joys, and everything. Aurora is very uncomplicated, though, being she is intelligent, but she doesn't. Her mind doesn't work the same way as a human's. With all these, as humans, we get in our and elves and dwarves and gnomes, we get in our own way a lot. Aurora is much less complicated with that.
Yeah.
She's just happy for you to be there and for you to be near, and she wants to play, and she's excited to show you, how fast she can go through the water and stuff like that. And
Cool.
yeah, so you guys begin your voyage. In the distance, as I mentioned before, you can see that there might be a little bit of a storm brewing, but it looks like it's a ways away. Go ahead again, Brixton.
Did she manage to find any pearls?
Yes, she has. And when you find them, what she does actually is she takes you down into the water a little bit deeper, where she's put up a little bit of a pile of them. There's a pile of about 7 irregularly shaped pearls.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. You take them back to the boat, or actually I should say you begin your voyage. Sharissa's crew begins to take you away. The voyage across the water through the shallows is very calm. It's a nice day out. You can see the storm, like I said, on the horizon, but that's about it. The air is a little bit cold right now. You can the ocean spray is kicking up every once in a while over the side of the boat that you can feel it kind of spray across you. Brixton, by contrast, you're soaking wet, but it doesn't matter a bit. It's just so much fun, porpoising through the water with her. And when she goes down through the water, there's so much velocity, all these silver bubbles exploding through you. It's just an awesome experience. Ariane, please.
Which direction is the wind and the storm cell coming from? And
it looks like it might be coming in from the northwest.
Okay. It shouldn't be too bad, because that's really not that.
Yeah, you don't expect it to be.
Come across the waves, it's not going to build up a lot of momentum.
Right, and as you voice that thought, because Melina likes to stand next to you. You guys have hit it off pretty well, and you kind of voice that to Melina, and Melina agrees, and Sharissa is not far away when you say that, and Sharissa tells you that it's her opinion. She says, yeah, I don't think that we'll see much of it, but since we got off relatively quickly, I would expect there maybe once we arrive at the island, however, it'll catch up with us a bit. We might be seeing a little bit of stormy weather, but by then we should be on land.
Well, even if we get there, it's still not going to be, I wouldn't think it'd be all that bad coming across that small bit of water. The only thing I would be worried about is more for the cold. What is the... So I thought when we started this whole thing months ago, or a year ago or months ago, it was like sometime in the late summer, early fall. What is it getting to now?
You are starting to get into the late fall right now.
Okay.
So, and that's why she tells you that she's like, I wouldn't underestimate the storm. It could be. The weather is very capricious in this area, my friend.
Hold on 1 second. I'm mute for a sec here.
Sure. Okay, so you guys begin to your travel across the water, and at one point in time, Brixton, you end up coming back to the boat. You said you were going to go for a while, but not the entire voyage.
Yeah.
When you return to the boat, it's the man of the hour. Sharissa kind of greets you. Come with me. She says, we all have business in my quarters.
Oh.
Lightning looks at you. She goes, this is about the loot, right?
I think so.
Me and my friends invited?
I don't see why not.
She nods. Come on, boys, let's go. So the whole crew, you, Ariane, Melina, Lightning, and the other 2 rangers walk into her quarters. It's a little bit cramped, but out on this big table where there's this massive map that's occupying the center of the table, your huge bag of loot is there. Also, this crate is sitting in there with David's the egg that he brought in.
Cool.
All of this stuff is. She takes the bag. You see her starting to pull all the stuff out of it. Kind of pour it out on the table. She looks at the 2 of you and she says, "I suppose this is your show now."
I guess so.
I have a little bit of business over in the corner of the quarters. While you're doing this, she says, I'll begin to, I'll work at that.
Okay, cool.
She turns around and walks to the corner. So what will your strategy be then?
Well, I think the idea is to get David to cast detect magic when he's back, and and sort the non-magical versus the magical loot. Mm-hmm. And then, since I only have identified twice, is to kind of just pick two. Like, I pick one, David pick one, we figure out what they do, and then we can even just play around with the rest on the trip and see if we can figure some stuff out. But
okay, Arion.
I missed all that.
I was going to tell you what's going on right now. Brixton came back to the boat. You're about halfway through the journey, and Arion, Sharissa called you all into her quarters.
Okay.
When you got into the quarters, there's a big table in the middle of her quarters with a map spread out on top of it.
Right.
All of the sacks of loot that you guys recovered are in there. The boxes, the box with your egg in it is sitting in one of the corners of the room. She excused herself to take care of another matter in the corner of the room that she said she had to attend to
Okay.
So she's kind of away from you. The whole group of you have been invited in to see this by Brixton. So it's you two, Melina, and 3 Rangers are all standing in there. Go ahead, Brixton.
I'm gonna before he casts detect magic, I'm gonna put my flask and hat on the table too, just to see.
Okay. Arion, you're going to cast detect magic?
No, because we've got this whole list or whatever here.
Right.
All that is in front of us.
Yep.
Basically, and you don't need to take your hat off because I can sit there and turn around and get the entire room if I needed to. It's basically an area effect is the cone. If I read how the spell is cast.
You go ahead and you cast the detect magic spell.
Yes.
The first thing that you see is I'm going to go down the list and tell you what resonates and what does not resonate to you.
Hey, hold on.
Okay.
Get a
highlighter.
Go.
Okay. The first thing that resonates to you, and I am going to do something right now. Hold on just for a second.
Are you pulling it up on Twitch?
I am.
Okay, sweet. So I don't have a list in front of me.
Yep, I am pulling it up on Twitch. I wasn't going to do that initially, but I decided it's probably best for everybody if I do. Okay, we have it up on Twitch as we speak. Here is the items that have been cast, that resonate. And we're going to begin with what you found on the Evil Magi. All right?
All right.
The first thing that you see is that the black and red silk robes that he has. And we have somebody... hey, is that little Colleen? Yeah, little Colleen is with us. Hey, little Colleen, how you doing? You're trying to get into D&D. That's awesome. It's such a great hobby. Hopefully you can pick up some things. If you have any questions or anything, just feel free to ask us. Everybody's friendly here. So anyway, you're doing the detect magic on the items. The first thing that appears to you is these black and red silk robes that are blood-stained. They do resonate with magic of moderate to light abjuration.
Okay.
The brass bracers also resonate with a moderate to light abjuration. The gold ring does not resonate at all.
Okay.
The silver dagger does not resonate at all.
All right.
The acacia wand does. It resonates with an evocation of a moderate sword. The hand mirror does not resonate, nor does the silver locket.
All right.
Okay. And the leather pouch, nothing within that happens to resonate either. Okay.
Alrighty.
Next, the evil warlord's items.
I want those boots.
You wouldn't fit them.
Because they smell ghastly, is that why?
Well, and they're purple.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
They match my hat.
that helps.
You can call them Bozo then.
Hey, no problem, well, Colleen. We're really happy to do so. The evil warlord stuff, the hideously purple boots do resonate with a moderate alteration. The thick red syrup, also alteration, moderate to strong.
Hold on here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, going back up to the evil magi for the rope and the bracers, you said medium to light. What was
abjuration magic?
Abjuration.
Yep. Yeah, what's happening is you're getting the schools of magic that they come from. And
right. That's what I finally figured out halfway through this. I'm like, oh shit, I should write those down.
Hey, thanks, little Colleen, for following us. We appreciate it. Okay, the next thing that you get. I love that graphic that Amanda did. The glass flask with the blue liquid, it does resonate. It is a transformation magic of a light sort. The metal shield resonates, but you can see that the enchantment is broken in it from the hole that's punched in it. So if it was going to need to be, it's an intense magic, but it's broken. It would need to be repaired if it were to work right again.
And which would also cost a hell of a lot, I would guess.
It sure would. It sure would. The longsword that you see, yeah, what's that?
Can we tell what school it's from?
Yeah, it is abjuration. The longsword is of a, it also resonates. Evocation, moderate to strong. The messenger bag Arion also resonates, and it has a mild alteration.
Okay.
Nothing else in there resonates at all.
Okay, none of the coins or anything like that.
Nope, nothing else.
And the plate mail
does not
either?
resonate.
Okay.
Next.
I was trying to scroll through the list, but I can't.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's your job.
The next thing you get is the Visible Rogue. The leather belt with many pouches, alteration magic, powerful. The dark cloak, also transformation, powerful. All of the items in his pouches do not resonate, for the exception of the ancient stone arrowhead, which resonates with alteration, and one of the pairs of women's undergarments. Hey, Modlight, thanks so much for following. We appreciate it. One of the women's undergarments also resonates with transformation, very powerful.
Hold on, the stone with arrowhead resonates is what type?
Alteration.
And is it strong or moderate?
Moderate to strong. And the women's one of the pairs of women's undergarments radiates extremely powerful transformation magic.
Okay, hold on here.
For those of you who
maybe we should give that to Rainmar.
For those of you who tuned in late, by the way, the crew right now is going through the spoils of their items that they recovered through their fight in the arena recently. So for those of you who aren't sure what exactly is happening here, that's what they're doing. Okay, let's see, the daggers, both of them resonate as with powerful magic. Evocation.
Sorry, both daggers?
Both daggers.
All right.
And nothing else that he has resonates.
Alrighty.
Finally, the Priestess of Ayus. The Chainmail. Powerful abjuration magic. But it looks like it's been damaged, obviously. So it's really not...
Just like the shield, it would have to be...
Yeah, it would have to be repaired first before you guys can do anything with it. The Drinking Horn. Not magical.
Okay.
The Iron Footman's Flail. Moderate abjuration. Or, excuse me, evocation. Both the glass flasks that she are magical.
Okay.
One of them has a alteration, and the other one is actually they're both alteration. I take that back.
All right.
And finally, the shield is magical, abjuration. The backpack, powerful transformation magic. Every one of the 3 books that is bound in human flesh in her bag, they're all magical. And finally, the gold-dipped human skull is so powerfully magical it almost blinds you, Arion, as is the medallion. The medallion I should take that back. The medallion is alteration magic. It does not... Or, excuse me, it's illusion magic. I take that back. Illusion magic, but it does not... It's about moderate strength, but the gold-dipped human skull, overwhelmingly powerfully magical. And it reads of about 6 or 7 different kinds of magic. Necromancy being most chief among them, most powerful.
And sorry, the medallion, the holy symbol was illusion?
Yes. Hey, Lamash, too. Good to see you again.
Okay. Now, just because I am not up on terminology, abjuration is like what?
Abjuration is stuff like wall spells. It tends to be defensive magic.
Okay.
Evocation is usually offensive magic of some kind. Alteration changes something in something intrinsic about the item in particular, whereas transformation is it actually changes it physically.
Okay, alteration is your more offensive.
No, that's evocation.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what you guys see as far as the loot that is glowing or not glowing to you, Arion. There's a lot of magical goods in there, obviously.
Right.
There are. It's a mixed bag, no pun intended. Sharissa comes back from the corner of the room with from the.
What about? And does his hat glow?
Oh yes, the feather glows. The feather glows.
And I'm guessing that his sword that I've been borrowing also is.
Yes, that is already been
magical, but none hasn't been checked yet.
Yes, and now that you're actually detecting it on magic, you can tell the strength of it is light.
So, what school of magic's the feather?
The feather looks like it is transformation.
And what about the flask? Did that glow?
The flask does not glow.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. So, you're all standing there. Sharissa comes over from the corner of the room, and she puts a leather bag in front of you, Brixton, and you, Arion. It's clear that there's some kind of coinage in there.
Okay. Before this thing kicks off or whatever, I want to also use a detect magic on, as it's still residual here yet, if it hasn't worn off, on Widow Grenville's gift. The quiver and arrows.
The quiver does not glow. The arrows do.
Okay, thank you.
So, Arion, and Brixton, when she puts the small coin purses in front of you, she turns around. She kind of sits on her back on her bed. She goes, "That's your cut for your win."
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. She says, "Well, to the victors go the spoils," and I wouldn't feel right about not paying you, considering that I sort of roped you into this to begin with.
Well, I heard Brixton liked bondage.
Confirmed, you hear Lightning say, just flatly.
Woohoo!
Everybody gets dead silent in the room.
I gotta memorize that untie cantrip.
Confirmed.
Oh boy.
So she, Brixton, you and Arion have found out what is magical and what is not.
Okay.
Outside, you can feel the boat starting to rock a little bit. It's the weather is worsening. It seems like you're starting to feel the edges of the storm as it's rolling in on you. It's probably still quite a bit away, but you can feel the water starting to roughen up a bit. Brixton, out of all the items that you've heard, you have 2 shots at identifying things. What would you like to choose?
Right? Man, that's the question. There's a lot.
Well, before he does anything there, 2 things that we could probably check a couple things before we even identify, like the backpack and belt. If they start opening some of the stuff up, does it seem extra dimensional?
Want to find out? Just keep this in mind. Just keep in mind something.
Yes.
Not all magic items in a Castle Entertainment campaign are going to conform to the way that they read necessarily, say, in a player's handbook.
Yes, I understand that.
All I'm trying to tell you is this. If you got a hold of something like, I don't know, a girdle of dwarven kind, okay, its curse will affect you if you're starting to do that kind of stuff.
Okay. Oh yeah, if it doesn't accept you.
Right.
Okay.
So if you want to do that, that's fine. I'm not trying to scare you off of that train.
Right.
Just let me know.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because what I'm trying to do is, if I can, and I don't know if I might recognize something along these lines. What I'm trying to do is find out if one or the other is some kind of a the handy haversack type, or a pouch of whatever it's that you got multiple little pockets that open up.
I knew what you were trying to do. I just wanted to make sure that you knew what the consequences of that act might be before you did it. I don't really like to penalize players if they don't know what they're getting into without telling them how it works.
I'm leery about it anyway, just because these guys were evil to begin with.
Yes, and that is a good reason to be leery of it. So anyway, Brixton, what do you got? What are you going to do? Talk to me.
Yeah, well, how about, is there anything from this pile that you want to find out about, Arion?
What I would... I think some of the... We can do it we can do this over the course of miscellaneous days too.
You can. Until he runs out of pearls.
Yeah.
Because he needs those to...
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He was thinking ahead. That's why he had Aurora go down and dive for pearls.
As far as what I would think that we might need to try to find out would be maybe some of these potions.
We can taste them.
Huh?
We can just get your friends to taste them.
All right.
Lightning just looks you right in the eye and doesn't even blink.
I mean, the ones that stick out would be like the potions, just because something might help us out. Transformational or alteration, and not really sure what is it a potion of polymorph, or is it a gaseous form, or is it that type of thing?
It could literally be anything,
or become something completely up in his head that he came up with.
It could also be that too.
No,
You guys do know I love creating custom magic items.
And
we're only part of your Patreon and we get that every month.
Okay, well, because I was going to do one for me and one for you, but if you're undecided, I can do two for me. I don't mind.
I'd like to try. For me, I would like to try the dark leather cloak from the Rogue.
Okay.
Now, for one thing, is that first off, the Rogue. What size of a person was he?
The Rogue was invisible even when you killed him, but he seemed to be very short.
Okay, so he's more Brixton size.
Probably, maybe a halfling.
Well, okay, yeah, but I'm saying he's not going to be human or half elf or elven size.
No, but do keep in mind that most magical apparel does resize.
True. But I'd like to try that.
Okay.
Do that one. For me.
Okay, you want me to identify the cloak?
Sure.
Okay,
I'm going to identify the purple boots and then the cloak.
Okay. The first thing you do is you pick up the purple boots. The purple boots, you cast your spell on it, and roll me a percentage die. This is the most important part, because remember, there's a possible super bad negative connotation to identify.
Yeah. I just have to find my dice, because they're not here. I'm so sorry.
Talk about a guy that's not prepared for class. I'm going to identify everything today. I forgot to bring my dice. Oh my god, how terrible. By the way, there has never been a player in the history of gaming that is as mobile within his own window as David is. I've now put 6 different cameras on him, so no matter what he does, gotcha that time, son. Every time he goes off camera, I can still move and catch you. It's like having a wide pane. Anyway, so anywho, yeah, I got you again. So, anyway, Brixton, what are you going to do?
Well, I stole my roommate's dice because I think mine are in the car.
Okay, we'll roll them up, bud. What do you got?
I just have to find percentile dice. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's just hope these are as good as the ones that I normally use. 38.
Okay. You cast a spell on the boots. The very first thing that you feel on them as you're running your hand over there, they're starting to glow with this silvery glow. You can kind of see these wisps of twinkling magic coming off of the soles of them. The soles are kind of rubbery to the touch as you feel them. Kind of the spongy. And you're pretty sure that they're like boots of leaping or some kind. Like they can make you jump extra far with it.
Okay.
Make me one more percentage die.
30.
Okay. You've heard of these before. These are boots of striding and springing. They will allow you to jump and leap great distances. However, there's a chance that they don't work out well depending on your rolls, and you could end up stunning yourself by using them. However, they also have a defensive bonus that comes with them, plus a combat bonus. Cool. You're pretty sure that this is what that guy used actually to close the combat so fast when he was fighting you. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you are now touching the cloak, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Percentage.
64.
Getting close. Okay. So you start to touch the cloak, and before it was very difficult to tell what kind of creature it had been skinned from. As you start running your fingers over it, you become aware of what it is. It's bat wing. It's made of bat wing. You can actually feel the spines in it, the spines from the inside of a wing. Inside of it, running your fingers over it, you're pretty sure that if you use this properly, you might be able to actually take flight with it. You might even be able to transform into a bat with it. I need you to make me a percentage die again.
Uh-oh. 52.
Inside the neck of it is sewn a word. It's Chirop.
How do you spell that?
Chirop. Chirop.
Okay.
I say it. I put the cloak on and I say it.
You go ahead. And Brixton puts the cloak on. Go ahead. And you say it.
He turns into a bat.
Say versus spells. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Brixton. As soon as he does that, you're all standing there and you watch Brixton's body. His whole body starts to shift. You see the hat fall to the ground, or his clothes kind of fall to the ground as he's shrinking down. He's growing brown or black hair, bristly black hair out of his entire body. The cloak is melding into his arms, and you see his fingers starting to spread wide. And as his fingers are spreading wide, they kind of melt in to the spines of the wing. You hear bones breaking and cracking as he slowly morphs into something different. And finally, he's flitting around in the middle of the room. Brixton.
Abracapocus.
Brixton.
Yeah.
The whole world looks different to you.
I believe
Everything
that.
is kind of blackish and whitish in here.
Yeah.
But contours of things, the texture of things, stand out to you so great right now. It's like, for example, you can count all the feathers on your hat and on Sharissa's hat. You can tell what kind of fabric it is, how far it's raised, just from the sense, your senses, how they've changed. Another thing, you're finding out that
You're back.
that you can't really hover. You kind of have to be flying around in a circle. And you're also well aware of the fact that the way your body works now, if you were on the ground, you would not be able to take flight.
Okay. So if I land,
you would have to transform and then go to a higher point and then fall.
I hold out my arm.
Okay. Brixton, are you going to do it?
For sure, yeah.
You land on his arm. Ariane, he hooks into your gauntlet. He's hanging upside down. It feels perfectly natural, Brixton.
Okay.
Like nothing untoward.
All right. That's
But Sharissa kind of gets a little close to you, is looking at you. See her. You can't really tell the color of her eyes or anything like that, but you can kind of see. You can feel everything. The distances.
When she gets real close, I'm gonna screech at her.
God, she backs up really fast.
Can I speak English?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
You are a bat right now.
I am a bat. How do I say Kirop in bat?
Isn't that weird? You don't know how.
How do you say it backwards?
Are you gonna try and say it?
I'm gonna try to unbatify myself. Yes.
Okay, you say what you think is Kirop in the just with your screeching noise, and the whole process reverses itself. You see Brixton starting to stretch out again, and Brixton, you would be totally naked if it wasn't for this cloak wrapped around you at this point. Your clothes are all on the ground because you shrunk down.
Does he take falling damage on his head then, or what?
No, he does not. No, kind of flipped around and fall in human form now, or in gnome form, I should say.
That's batty.
If it wasn't clear before, it's a cloak of the bat.
Yeah. It is now, yeah.
It is a cloak of the bat. Which is a fun magic item.
Huh?
Which is a fun magic item.
It's fire. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. It is. You'll notice that there's a few qualities of it that are different than a normal cloak of the bat, however. Some of them are limiting, and some of them are really expanded. For example, in a typical cloak of the bat, your equipment melts in with you. It does not here. However, you are utterly indistinguishable from a normal bat when you're wearing this. So it's a little bit better in a sense, too.
Yeah, but you
just better put all your stuff in a bag and take it along with you.
Yeah, I'll get Sunny and Lily to do that.
Here's the other question. Now, how big did he say that he shrunk to actual bat size?
Yeah.
What type of bat size?
Was a little black bat. But
Okay.
Brixton, make me another percentage dice.
17.
You also feel like if you would have wanted to, just by the way you say the word Kirop, you may, with different inflections on it, you may have been able to become a little brown bat, maybe, or maybe a flying fox, maybe that size of a bat, or you could have even become a giant bat.
Oh, cool. Okay.
You think you could have done that?
No. Too bad there's not two words. You can sit there and screw it up like Bugs Bunny did, and have a guy with his Brixton head or Brixton with a bat body.
No, you feel like it's going to take some experimentation to actually get to a specific kind of bat. But once you figure it out, you're pretty sure that you're going to be able to do it repeatedly.
Just don't say Babe Ruth.
Don't say Babe Ruth. No.
Cool. Okay. All right. Fire.
Okay. So that's what you've learned about these items.
Now,
Brixton, when you turn back to a human, Sharissa gets in your face and goes, "Don't ever do that again."
do what? Turn into a bat?
You know what? She goes, "Otherwise, we're going to have bat souffle here on board the Nerid Shawl at some point."
We'll just make sure Arion's wearing it first.
So she sits back down on the bed. She goes, "I expect us to be at the island here in the next hour and a half or so. So if you'd like to relax or whatever, be my guest."
I would like to just pick around with some of these other ones. I know it's just cautiously, but I want to try and look at that. Handle that long sword.
Okay. You
worried about it just because of who had it before.
Yeah. Remember this before you pick it up and start handling it. If it's cursed, you're not going to be able to let it go.
Right.
So are you still going to handle it in that? That being said?
I want to take a look. Take a gander at it.
Okay. Well,
if there's any kind of runes on it that I might.
Well, the first thing that you see is that it's very distinctive because it's made out of a greenish kind of metal that you have never seen before. Okay. At first, it looks like it might even be stone, not metal, but it's definitely metal. Because when you like drop something on it, like a small stone or something, it has that metallic kind of plink sound.
Right. Well, I mean, we had to have touched it to get it here, didn't we?
No, remember, if you remember correctly, those things were put in a box and sent to you.
Okay.
So, and that's pretty much why I did that too, by the way.
Okay, so okay. If is it still in the box or is it laid out somehow?
No, it's in its scabbard. It's in its scabbard.
But can I take like a stick or another sword and sort of try to slide it out of the scabbard, see if there's anything written on the blade?
Yeah, sure.
I didn't know if there's enough room in this box.
The sword is sort of wavy. It's not exactly straight. It's more like a flamberge. You know how it's got a little bit of a bend to it.
Like Grazit's.
Yeah, sort of like Grazit's. There's a gemstone in the pommel of it. It is a big chunk of either obsidian or onyx. It's hard to tell which it is.
Okay.
Looking close at it, you do not get a reflection. Your reflection does not. You don't see yourself in it, so it seems like it's so dark it absorbs light, like obsidian would. That's really all you can tell about it just from this kind of inspection. Okay. It looks like it's very well made, though.
Is there anything written on the scabbard?
No. The scabbard is adorned with onyx, though.
Okay.
All the way down. It's got like some marquee cut onyxes set all the way down its side.
And I don't recognize anything on here that would give any kind of indication as to where or what make or who made it, where it came from.
No, not really. Not really. Although the style that it looks like is definitely not dwarven or elven. Elves and dwarves don't do this kind of thing usually. By the way, Wiley Hobbit, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Okay.
Brixton, what are you going to do?
I want to do the same thing with the medallion because I feel like that's what displaced the cleric.
Okay. You pick
And
up.
since it's,
You're going to pick it up, you said?
yeah, and maybe even put it on. It is illusion magic, so I feel like I might have a little bit.
Okay. Brixton, you put the thing on. You guys all watch Brixton put this medallion on.
Necklace of
strangulation.
And
Yeah,
instantly, he has this kind of distant look on his face. Brixton, you are no longer standing in the ship.
Uh-oh.
You're in a very, very large room, like a cathedral almost. It's really dark. Except for these fires that are lit in the distance. It's all stone. It's very cold everywhere around you. All of the hairs on the back of your neck are standing up. Total goosebumps all over your body. In front of you is a throne that is made completely out of bones. Skeletal bones. Skulls adorn the top of it.
Oh.
There's a pathway that runs from this all the way to a door, double doors behind you. They are made out of. It looks like it's. At first, it looks like it's a really deep red carpet, but actually, what it is it's cut into the floor, and it's actually a river of blood that runs from the skulls. The skulls are weeping blood into this river and forming a carpet in front of you. In the distance behind it, the shadows are moving around behind the skulls, and they're looking at you. They're all starting to approach, dancing macabrely all around you. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm super curious. But I feel like maybe trying... Do I have the necklace still on?
Yeah.
And I know it's of IUs, right?
Right away, from everything you've heard, not only does this seem to you like it's the medallion is of IUs, but from everything you've heard and all the legends and the stories you've heard, this may very well be IU's throne room in Dorica.
Now, how bad is IUs?
On a scale of 1 to 10, probably about 1,002.
How good is it? How good is the 12th level paladin?
He is an evil demigod that has taken over at times part or most of the Flanness. Unspeakable atrocities he's committed. He's enslaved and murdered hundreds of thousands of people in the Shieldlands. He is actually a legitimate demon, a Cambion demon. Would you like me to continue?
Well, I'm just wondering, maybe he wants to talk to me about Raymar too. But maybe I'll take the necklace off.
As soon as you take the necklace off, you disappear. You're back inside of the ship.
But my body never left, hey?
You don't think your body ever left. The first thing that comes to your mind as an illusionist is that sometimes projection can be a two-way street.
I'm a dummy. I'm just gonna hold on to that for now.
Okay. Everybody's looking at you.
Neck.
Everybody's looking at you. Melina looks over at Brixton. Are you all right?
Just peachy. Just peachy.
She nods. Okay. So what's the medallion do then?
I think it's just a holy symbol.
Oh, okay.
Bullshit.
Okay. Lightning just looks at you, dead in the eye, with that look like, I know you're lying, but I'm not saying anything about it.
I'm gonna wink at her.
outside, right before somebody does say something to you, Brixton, you hear one of the crew members go, "Land ho!"
Fire. Okay.
Okay.
Captain,
you're gonna want to come out here. Charissa kind of looks at all of you. Excuse me. She opens up the door, pushes open the door, walks out. When she does, you can see in the distance mist, like a fog everywhere. She looks over.
I missed that.
I see what you did there.
He's sort of foggy on it too.
So, she walks out. Some of the other people are following her out, looking into the distance. You can see the kind of vague shape of an aisle with a tower atop it. The aisle is less than a mile. It's probably maybe a half mile long, kind of irregularly shaped. You can see some outcroppings all around it. There's no way the boat's going to be able to get to it. You're going to have to take one of the lifeboats and row to it once you get close enough. But there is a heavy fog that hangs across the whole island. Charissa looks back at you and she says, "This wasn't here the first time." And she also mentions the rest of the horizon. She says, "Look, there's nothing else anywhere. This has to be intrinsic. Yeah, it can't be anything else."
Can I try to disbelieve it?
Sure, if you want to.
Well, how does that?
Don't bother. No, nothing goes away.
All right. Okay. Cool.
I didn't say I followed up, but if everybody went up there, and I'm up there, I like to talk to the guy or whoever spotted it.
He's up in the crow's nest, and he looks down at you.
But how soon was this instant, or was this?
No, we could see the fog from a ways away, but we didn't see land until just now.
Oh, okay. So it didn't just all of a sudden appear.
No, the fog's been here.
Okay.
Charissa says, "I'll get you as close as I can. You're going to have to take the rest of the way with the lifeboat." She looks at the two of you, looks at the rest of the group. She says, I wouldn't suggest that you take the entirety of the crew.
Do you want me to scout out?
I think that might be prudent. She looks at the rest of you.
And then I'm just going to nod and jump off the boat.
Okay. You guys watch Brixton jump off the boat. Sploosh in the water nearby. Not in an instant, Aurora is there. Scooping you up on her back.
Yeah.
Okay. You can feel that connection between the two of you, and it's so absolute that she knows exactly what you want to do.
Sweet.
She begins swimming underwater with you, breaching only occasionally to get you air.
Cool, and I still got my bag to stay down longer.
Arion, on the boat, Charissa says, "Let's hold up right now. Give him a chance." So, Brixton, you end up getting close to the outcroppings. The fog is very, very heavy here. It occurs to you that what the fog is meant to do is it's meant to obscure the outcropping so that ships can't get here. Large ships can't get here without fear of running aground.
Cool. Can I lead the Nerid Shawl through the fog?
No. You had to jump off the side, but Aurora is coming up so infrequently that you think it would be very hard for anybody to detect exactly where you were.
Yeah, but couldn't I, since she's an elemental now, couldn't I ride on top of the water?
You could if you wanted to. Are you going to do that? Are you going to ask her to do that?
Not while I'm scouting, but if I wanted to lead the boat in.
Yeah. Yeah, you could. Okay. You're almost like saying you want to surf on her, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible.
While he's doing that, I'm going to be just keeping an eye out on the oncoming weather, if that's the case, and just from at least my vantage point.
Yeah, you and the other rangers are doing that. You're looking at the weather. You figure that the storm will probably be here in about maybe an hour or so.
Intense or otherwise?
Probably mostly wind not a ton of precipitation, but what precipitation may come in the way of wet snow, like a sleet kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
So, the air outside of her cabin, it's very frigid right now. It's starting to get very cold. Brixton, you're out through the water. You're over at the outcroppings right now. Are you going to go to the mainland?
Yep.
She has absolutely no problem navigating her way through there, and she comes up pretty much on the beach of it. The beach is about 100 feet of lowland that rises up to flat area. The whole scope of the isle undulates a little bit. There's a little bit of vegetation there, like a few trees and a copse, not far from where the tower is, but really the island is pretty much the tower and not much else. The grass that grows there is sparse. It's mostly rocks. Yeah. It looks like the perfect place for a mage who does not like being disturbed to build a
tower.
A tower.
Cool.
Okay. So, what are you going to do?
Was there like a door?
Yeah, there's a door over at the tower. Okay. You start to walk away from the beach, and as you're walking away from the beach, you're feeling that extra life starting to ebb away.
Is it that far?
It's a half a mile.
It's.
So remember, the familiar connection is only about 100 feet.
Yeah.
So once you get up off the beach, you're going to start feeling that ebb.
Okay.
So you end up going onto the flatland. Are you going to try and hide in shadows or anything, or are you just going to go unobscured right to the door?
I think I'm going to go unobscured and kind of presenting myself.
Somebody writes in the chat, Wu-Tang Piglet writes, sign over the door reads, go away. Thanks for joining us, Wu-Tang. I appreciate it, man. Okay, Brixton, there is a mat in front of the door. It is kind of a grayish embroidered mat. It looks like it's in the style of some of the human colonies to the south, like in Sundi and places like that.
Yeah.
The Solnor Compact, things like that. So you go up to the door, and there's a big knocker on the door. Okay, the knocker is made out of iron, and
Settle
down there, David. Settle down there, David. And it is done in the shape of a horse.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does the mat say anything?
No. You're gonna walk on top of the mat?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm gonna check the traps.
Okay. You look at it. Start to poke around. Make me a percentage die roll.
51.
The mat does not seem to be trapped.
Okay, well, I'm still going to not stand on it, and I'm going to try to ring the knocker with my bow.
Okay, you kind of pick up the knocker with the bow. Boom, bonk. The door is made out of heavy, dark wood that has been bound in iron. You hear footsteps coming to the door.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. We'll see.
Door
I still
opens
got
up.
that cloak, right?
Huh?
I still got that cloak, right?
Yeah, you sure do. Door
Sweet.
opens up. There's an old man that's behind it. He's wearing a dark suit. Got a kind of a tassel tie there. Bald pate. It looks like he might be in his late 70s or so. He looks at you. Kind of looks around behind you more than looks at you. Greetings, he says and looks at you.
Hello. I am Brixton Beholder's Band.
Ah, do you have an appointment?
I do.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Please, one moment. He reaches over to the side of the door, pulls out a book, flips through it a few pages, follows his finger down. He says, I don't see a Brixton Beholder's Bane here.
Is there a way, can I cast 2 delusion on the book to have the words show up?
Yeah, you can. Are you going to do that?
Cool. Yeah, but since I learned I can do it without the hand signs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna say check again.
He looks down the list. Oh, there you are, Brixton Beholder's Bane. Says, I see your name. Very well, he says. Please come, follow me. May I take your cloak, your boots?
No, I'm gonna keep my stuff. Is that okay?
Well then, do be careful then not to soil the carpet.
I won't. I don't have a way to. The boat doesn't know where I am.
No.
I can't. There's no way Aurora's in range to tell her to go back to the boat.
No, there's absolutely no way. He closes the door behind you, and when he does, there is absolutely no contact that you can have between her. You feel it absolutely cut off.
Just okay,
like for example, like when you've got sunlight that's barely filtering through blinds, and then you put something in front of the window on top of it. Okay.
Well, maybe
inside the tower, what you see is you see a very large room. It's probably about maybe 40 feet in diameter, probably circular. There's a long spiral stairway that goes around the outside of it. It very much reminds you of Altarissa's tower.
Yeah.
But you do see a door in the back of the area that leads deeper into the tower. Maybe like to an outbuilding or something like that. There's a few tables in here. There's torches hang on the walls that give this kind of eerie, inconsistent, shadowy light in there. He walks over to one of the tables and pulls. There's a small silver chime that's hanging on the wall there. That he takes a silver rod and he tinks the chime with it one time. It just makes this kind of wind-chimey, ethereal noise. Turns around and looks at you. He smiles and says, "The mistress will be down to see you in a moment." In the meantime, sir, Mr. Beholder's Bane, may I give you something to drink? Can I offer you something to eat?
I would like some food, please. Yes.
Very good. He says, "Is there something you have a taste for in specific? Any allergies? Anything?"
Marzipan.
Oh, marzipan. Very good. Very good. He says, "I'll be back in a moment then." He turns around and he walks out of the room very quickly, briskly towards that back door. He leaves to the back. Above you, you hear like some kind of movement, shuffling. He comes back in a moment. He's got a silver platter there with a glass dome over it. You see marzipan on the inside. It's cut. He says, "I just got it." He says, "We just got it in 2 days ago from a shipment." So he says, "Please." He pulls off the top of it and hands it over. He says, "Take whatever you like." There's toothpicks stuck in all these pieces of marzipan.
Cool.
Coming down from the top of the spiral staircase, there's a tall, thin woman, plain-faced. She's kind of she's too tall, too thin for her own body. Like she might be like gangly almost. It's clear that she's actually like 6 foot, maybe 6'2". Her hair is tied behind her head. She's got black hair. Not really remarkable in any way that you could tell. Gray robes. The gray robes kind of form a skirt because she's got a tie around the bottom of it. The top is more like a vest. She got a wand stuck in her a scabbard at her hip, and she's got a staff in her hand. She walks down the stairs and looks at you and kind of eyes you a little bit as she walks down.
I kind of tilt my hat.
She nods. She says, "Hey, thanks, Gabriel. It's good to see you." She says, "I see you're here for your appointment."
Yeah, my name was in the book.
Yes, that's interesting. She said, "I just reviewed it this morning. I can't say I saw it. But everyone's liable to make mistakes, I suppose." She looks over at the man, and she says, "Eves, you may leave. Mr. Beholder's Bane and I have business." She goes over and she walks over to all the rest of the way. Before you leave, Eves, is that marzipan? Yes, my lady. Mr. Beholdersbane, would you like another before we begin?
Yeah, please.
She takes one herself and she eats it. She says, if I knew that you'd liked marzipan, I would have made sure we'd gotten some fresh.
That's okay. The circus never has fresh marzipan anyway.
She laughs a bit. Welcome to my home.
Thank you. It's very foggy outside.
As you are aware, she says, studies must be conducted in the most sovereign circumstances. I prefer solitude. I don't like interruptions, generally speaking. But since you were expected, she smiles slightly. Eves turns around and walks away. She says, would you like to speak here, or would you like to speak on the island? Perhaps we could go for a bit of a constitutional walk. After all, I'm sure that you're more comfortable by the sea.
I see what you did there.
Laughs a bit.
Yeah. And
please, Eves, we'll be walking. Milady, would you like me to get your riding boots? No, that won't be necessary. I'll put them on myself, thank you. She says there's a storm coming. Are you dressed for it, Mr. Beholdersbane? She goes over to some pegs and pulls out a great cloak and puts it on. Starts putting on these tall black riding boots.
I say I'm not.
Oh, very well then. Here, no. Here. She opens up a chest over by the door and pulls out a pair of these tall riding boots and a pair of a great cloak. That should fit you nicely.
Perfect.
Come. She starts to walk out of the door, opens up the door for you.
I go ahead.
Okay. Looks over at you and kind of eyes you up a little bit and just kind of smiles and starts to lead you as she walks with her staff. She's walking towards that copse of trees in particular. She says, so what do you think of the island?
Well, I haven't seen much of it yet.
You've seen all there really is to see, I'm afraid. She says, I didn't really do too much to disguise it. She says, I find persistent spell work to be more of a hassle than it is a help. The fog notwithstanding. She says, there's so much upkeep, and I prefer the flexibility of being able to keep my memorized spell list in flux from moment to moment. But that's something we can discuss later. Oh, you forgive me. I forgive my manners. She goes, my name is Lady Jelana. She extends her hand.
I shake her hand and I say, I'm self.
She watches you shake it, and she looks at you almost like, you barbarian. That is not how you shake a proper lady's hand, but she doesn't say anything about it. She just kind of uses that look like, what are you doing?
I was gonna do like the weird finger thing inside the handshake.
Are you gonna do that?
Oh, I think that's probably a bad idea.
Okay. She looks at you and she says that you've traveled from quite some way to come see me. So speak your mind. I'd like to hear what you have to say.
I was told that you might be able to teach me in the ways of illusion magic.
Oh, and who told you that?
Captain de Trondes.
She laughs, a little musical thing. She goes, that's who you are. Ah, I understand better now. You're friends with Captain de Trondes, huh?
Well, I mean, friends. It's probably a loose term.
You can speak freely if you'd like. You don't have to worry about what you say in front of me. If you're going to expect to be taught by me, then I think you should be forthcoming at least, yes.
Oh, she's co-workers.
I see. Is there also a price on your head, as substantial a price on her head as there is on hers?
I want to say yes, but that's not true.
Well, I suppose we can't have everything. She's walking towards the copse of trees. She goes over toward the... there's a small patch of flowers that are over there. Lilies in particular. She looks at you and she says, watch very closely, Brixton Beholdersbane. She reaches into her a side bag.
I crouch down. I wide-eye stare at the flowers.
She pulls out a small bowl out of it, and she's got a little paring knife in her hand. She says, take the lily petal like this, And she kind of scoops it out of there. Never let it hit the ground. She lets it drop in. She says, make sure that it falls about 5 to 6 inches because the amount of distance it falls is important. We're doing this before a storm on purpose, she says. This is how you should properly collect petals for the use of spell components.
Can I pull out a knife and start doing the same?
No, she says.
As
you pull out the knife, she says, here. She hands you hers. She says, you'll notice that this is silver. The handle, mother of pearl, obsidian. She hands you the bowl. She says, iron. Very important. Remember that magic, she says, is all symbolic. Shadow, obsidian, she points. Reflection, mother of pearl. She points at the silver. She says, truth, silver. Iron, reality, substance. Remember that if we are to mute what is real and what is not, symbolism is of utmost importance. You haven't been trained formally, have you?
No.
I see. Well, I have some work to do, I suppose.
That's what the last one said.
The last one? You've had another teacher. Wait. You don't know anything about symbolic magic. You must have been taught by a deep gnome.
Somebody's smart.
No. It's obvious. Deep gnome's magic is a natural magic. She says they're able to cast illusions simply by virtue of who they are. They don't have to work for it like you and I do. So, of course, they don't need to worry about things like symbolism. It makes perfect sense.
I should have been a deep gnome.
She laughs a bit. She says, no, you shouldn't have. She says, the deep gnomes are humorless and dour folk. She says, now, where's your other friend? She looks around. Captain de Tendresse told me that there was another one that would be coming with you. Some ranger, I believe.
Well, they're all on the boat. I went to scout ahead, and I got ahead of myself.
Oh, all right. Well, perhaps you'd like to leave then and come back. Because the two of you will have to discuss with me matters of recompense and things of that nature. And also, the storm will be here relatively soon, so you may want to hurry if your friend doesn't want to get unduly... He's a ranger. I'm sure he's used to getting wet. But you know how they are. They're out in the woods doing whatever for interminable lengths of time. But I do have someone here that I've a friend of mine that I've recruited to see to his training specifically. And if he's going to get that training, I don't want to keep our friend waiting.
Yeah,
it's rather rude.
I'll head off.
She watches you go over to the side of to the beach. You see her just kind of look very carefully at your familiar. The last thing that you see her say, as you get on top of Aurora and start going back to the boat, you hear her say the word remarkable. As you get on top of Aurora and you begin to head back to the boat.
I shout out, no, it's not a chalkboard.
You head back to the boat. So you get her response to it.
I didn't know she could see me.
You head back to the boat. Ariane, you're at the boat. You see Brixton coming back on top of Aurora. When they get back to the side of the boat, they see you. What are you going to say?
I'm going to say that I feel like I'm going to say I went to the tower. I feel like Ariane and I need to go back. How far away is this from camp?
From the city, it's probably about maybe a 5-hour journey by boat, you figure. Okay? But from actually where your main headquarters is located, you're probably talking about a solid 2 days travel, maybe?
And on Aurora, is that the same? Probably?
No, on Aurora, it would only be a day.
Okay.
Even as fast as the Nerd Shawl is, and it is fast, Aurora, there's nothing in the water quite like her. Except,
cool.
Well, there obviously are things like true water elementals and things like that, but
yeah,
I don't want to give you the impression that she's the absolute fastest thing in the water, but she's damn fast.
Yeah, she's not the Black Pearl, I get it.
Yes, exactly.
Are we? I'll tell Captain Dayton Jess. I'll ask. Does she have any business here?
Oh no, I'm just here to drop you off. I was going to say hello to an old friend, but I think it's best that your studies come into take precedence.
Can we steal a lifeboat?
Of course.
And
she looks over at you, and while she's getting ready to say, she's right about ready to say something, Melina looks at you and she says, "Are you sure that you just want to take the two of you? What if it's dangerous? We don't know this person at all."
Danger is my middle name. No,
you see Lightning just roll her eyes so hard that you can almost hear it.
I mumble, I thought it was just beholders.
She looks at you, just shakes her head. It's like, "Be careful," you hear Lightning say.
Yeah, and then I want to take the majority of the magical items that we found with us.
Okay. You go ahead. You put them in the bags.
Yeah. So that we can play around with it while we're gone.
Charissa just kind of sighs and she goes, "One bad storm and all that loops at the bottom of the ocean." Shakes her head. Easy come, easy go, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I got a fish.
Yeah, so I've heard. Be careful.
And then I kind of tip my hat.
The rain is starting to come in now, and it's very cold rain. Arion, your guess was right. It is freezing rain, like a sleet kind of deal.
And how long is this going to take?
It'll probably take you about maybe 15, 20 minutes to get there, you think.
Yeah. Do you want to bring your egg with you, Arion?
I think that'd probably be a good idea.
Okay. Take the box with the egg on there, and the two of you set off from the boat to get to the island. Now, it would have taken you a lot longer to get there. However, with Aurora helping, kind of nudge you along, there's a sense of being a little bit out of control because she's helping you, but that's all right. Brixton seems comfortable with it, Arion, so it kind of puts you a little more at ease. You navigate your way through the outcroppings very easily. And Arion, what you see is you get what I described earlier, the copse of trees there in the tower. It's kind of a dark metal tower. You see the long beach in front of you and a lone figure with a stave that's standing on the beach. Or standing on the actual the land itself, overlooking the beach. Brixton, you get out of you guys moor the boat up onto the sand, and I assume that you would approach.
Yeah.
Okay, Brixton, your group approaches. Arion, you heard the description I had of the woman that's there, and she looks at the two of you. This must be Arion, then.
This is Arion.
Arion, it's a pleasure to meet you. She says, "Lady Jelana." She extends her hand.
Jelana.
She looks over at you, Brixton.
I would say that.
Okay.
I do that's like, the somewhat flamboyant kiss the back of her hand type of thing.
You do that, and she looks over at you, Brixton. She says, "It seems some of us need less training than others." When you do that,
and I look at her and I say, "I know, he's a mess."
Arion, you stand up, and I'd like to introduce you to the person who will be conducting your training, Mr. Marquez. Please follow me.
Thank you.
Brixton.
May I ask one question before we begin this?
Well, of course you can.
We've got equipment and items in the boat. Is there a way we can safely keep this stuff?
She looks over and she goes, "It looks like you'll be staying for quite some time then, She looks over at the belongings. You can tell she's kind of joking. She says, I'll have my manservant Eves bring them into the tower for you. Just leave them there. They will come to know naught.
Thank you. The large box there, could you please put that in my whatever quarters that you have assigned to?
Very well. I will do that.
Thank you.
I'll have Eves take the utmost care of with it. She looks over at you, Brixton, and leads the whole group towards the tower. She says, forgive the tower's size. It's rather small, I know, but it's comfortable.
Before I go, I'm going to let Aurora know that I might be gone.
Okay. The sensation is a little bit of sadness, but understanding. She walks to the door. You see her take her hand and place the flat of it, on the door. Wu-Tang Piglet goes, wait, did she just say she'd have Ayuz take care of it? No, I said Eves. Yves. She puts a flat of her hand on the door, and then she's mumbles something, and then pushes it open. Leads you inside. There's the wizened old man that I described is in the he's down at the inside of that main lobby area of the tower. Eves, my friends have brought their belongings with us. There's a substantial amount of them. Could you please bring them inside, and do take the utmost care with them, especially the crate at the back. There might be something fragile inside. Take that to the old cellar, if you will. I think that's where we'll put our friend Arion.
I also will speak up a little bit. Just be careful of some of the stuff. We aren't sure what some of it is. And it might be dangerous if you touch it wrong. Mysteries. So we haven't gotten it completely through, so.
Mysteries.
Yes. Well, I want to protect you more than anything.
That's very kind of you. But no mage is worth their salt that isn't interested in a bit of mystery. Eves, though, do heed his warning. Be very careful. You are irreplaceable, my friend. Yes, mistress. He nods. Opens. We
don't want a puddle of goo sitting there, sitting next to something.
He looks up. She looks upstairs, and she says, "Master von Eriksson, please come downstairs if you will. Our expected guests are here." You hear some noise upstairs, kind of shuffling. The person that's coming to visit you, she says, is a ranger from a very distant land. Comes very well recommended. Comes downstairs, and you see this figure. He's got a hood over his head, a cowl over his head, long dark cloak. Clearly has a bow, big quiver of arrows there, sword stuck in his back. He's walking downstairs. About maybe 6'1", 6'2", maybe about a little short of 200 pounds, you guess. You can see leather armor underneath his stuff. Wears these bracers, and they all have these long. Everything he wears has long serpent patterns on it. Like he's got the bracers have like a snake going around the outside of it. He's got an armlet that's made out of iron with a snake going around it. The trim of his outfit, of his hood and his cloak, are all made of snakes.
Do I recognize that as being some kind of a healing symbol?
No, you recognize it as there's the symbology of serpents is it varies very wildly from culture to culture. Some people look at them as wisdom. Some people look at them as stealthy. Some people look at them as evil. Some people look at them as just as healing. It could be a lot of different things.
I was just curious because if he's to help me with possibly clerical issues, I figured that might be part of it.
He walks down.
Dealing with the real world codicilus, wasn't sure.
Right. No, not in this particular case. He walks down and he pulls back his hood, and he looks like to you, it's not clear whether he's a light or a dark elf. A lot like you, actually, Arion. But what is clear to you is that he has scales instead of flesh. It is all like snake scales, all the way across his face and down his nose. Everything is like.
Okay. I I take my mask and hood, take my hood off and pull the mask back.
He looks at you. Doesn't really have a reaction when you do that, much like yours to him. He looks at you. He says, "Area Marquesas."
Yes.
He says, "Von Ericson."
Might I have your name?
Yeah. He goes, "The last name's Von Ericson." He says, "But just call me the Serpent if you want." He looks at you. He says that. He says, "I hope you've never heard of me."
Have I heard of him?
No.
Then I say no.
Good. Because that means you've never done anything too terribly wrong in your life. Kind of smiles a bit. She says, she looks over at him and looks back at you, Ariane, and she says, "Mr. Von Ericson has been traveling the finesse quite extensively as a bounty hunter."
Okay.
He nods. I was acquainted with Mr. Von Ericson in when I was an adventurer myself, and I thought he might be an excellent individual to teach you in the ways of the ranger. Mr. Von Ericson is the reason I say that is because multidisciplined. I speak too much for you. It's all right. It's fine.
I'm multidisciplined myself.
Oh, very good. Good, he says. Then you won't have too much of a trouble catching on to a lot of these lessons. I don't want to just train you on how to track on land. Tracking underground is important too. Sand, snow.
I've got a lot of the last time I trained was underground work with a bunch of gnomes.
Good.
So that gives you an idea of what I might have learned from that.
Gnomes, he says. Poisoners?
How do you pronounce that? Snifferplin? I can't.
He does. Yeah. Most of the Svirfneblai, they like their mineral poisons.
We didn't have an issue with them. We were actually on good terms.
Shakes his head. He says, "Poison's neither good or bad. It's just a tool."
Yeah.
Says, "We're going to teach you a little bit about that." Says, "Since you don't seem to know too much about it, then it's a good place for us to shore up some of your knowledge. Maybe we can get you some. I see on your necklace, it says the symbol of Alona. So we'll probably teach you some stuff with how to concoct some weakening poisons, perhaps a slumber poison."
Before this is player to DM. Am I able to do that as a cleric?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. It is
because in the book it says DM.
It is a no. Yeah, it's a no. It's a no for the ranger, but this is a very kind of a special case. So,
okay.
Yeah. He says, "I'll be teaching you all kinds of different tricks." But he says, "I think that Lady Jelana wanted to ask you too about payment." Lady Jelana nods. She looks at the two of you and she says, "Yes, that's correct, Miss Captain." She says almost derisively, "Captain de Tardress wanted to told us about that you would render payment before training. Yes."
What's your bounty worth?
He looks at you like, "Are you being serious?" But when you don't say anything, he pauses and says, "Depends on the target. Sometimes it's free, sometimes it's a prince's ransom."
No, man, what's on de Tardress?
Oh, what's Captain de Tardress's bounty worth?
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, in Radek, I think it's 10,000 gold orbs." He goes, "But I wouldn't pick it up." He says she's got her uses, and she means well. She's just she doesn't quite. I don't know that she's 100% trustworthy, but she has her heart in the right place.
No.
Why? You looking to hire me?
No. I'm just always greedy.
He nods. He looks over at Arion and he goes, well, by the time I'm done with him, he goes, you can talk to him about it.
As far as the payment goes, this is not in conversation at all. Did we get enough to say foot enough out of that whatever she was betting, and we got paid from her?
Well, you're opening up the bags to kind of look at what she gave you for payment. She gave you 50. She gave you 50 gold for payment each.
No, I just sort of looked at it and got a guesstimate, but
yeah, she gave you 50 gold coins each.
Only 50.
Only 50.
Okay.
Says here's your cut.
How much is training?
Huh? Well, consider the fact that you're both third level right now. You guys know how much it is.
Or going to third level.
Going to third level, right? So
now is that now also? I don't know.
Don't you point at me with that thing?
Along with those, with the 1E going by just by the book,
be $3,000 each.
Yeah, and now is that $3,000 per class?
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's what I thought. Thing. So
it'd be $6,000 for each of you to get this training.
Now, how much?
That's why I was wondering, and I wanted to work with them on if some of the stuff we can that I don't even want to touch in this stuff that we picked up. Would they, and I sort of voice that is that's why we brought some of these crates and whatever of this stuff we got because
So you want to pay us in terms of magical equipment?
Yes, that we would not be able to use it. You might be able to, or you could pass off to somebody else.
She looks over at the serpent. He just kind of shrugs. Goes, "Got to know what it is before I can say yes or no."
I realize that, but
no, he's talking to her. He's talking to her, and she says, and she looks at him back, and she says, "Shouldn't take too much to figure it out." Brixton.
How much is gold?
Well, you guys had the list over there, but she gave you 50 gold each.
Yeah, no, but like how much? Because it's not 6,000 gold, right?
It's 6,000 gold.
6,000 gold.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a.
No.
It's not negotiable.
No.
It's negotiable in like how they get it.
She looks at the two of you, and she says, "I'll tell you what." She says, "We will keep. You may avail yourself of the tower for the time being. Tomorrow morning, I'll have these items examined. I'll confer with my friend, and once we're done, we'll make you an offer based on the equipment that you have. If you like the offer, then we'll begin training. If not," she says, "you may have to go somewhere else." Fair enough?
That's more than fair, as long as the Nereid didn't leave when we left.
Well, we can get back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She says, "Very good, then. I'll take you to your lodgings. If you have no other questions, then." Eves? He's still outside, she says. Door opens up about maybe a minute and a half later. He comes in. He's got kind of this cart that he's pushing along. It's got a bunch of your stuff on it. The egg isn't on there, you notice. He says, "First trip." Takes a kind of breathing a little bit hard. Looks at her like, "What?" Everybody's kind of staring at me. And she says, "Please take these two gentlemen down to their quarters. Give Mr. Beholder's Bane, why don't you give him the library?" "Oh, very good, ma'am. Please, gentlemen, come with me." He kind of walks you around to the other side, like the back side of the stairway. And where the stairway goes up, the back side of it, there's a way to go down. There's a tunnel that goes down into the deeper into the. He comes in. He starts to lead you down the stairs. Doesn't say anything. He takes a torch off the wall. He says, "I suppose that both of you can see in the dark, but I don't have that ability." Kind of laughs a bit. Walks down the stairs. You go down about 100 feet in depth, you figure. And The area is another wide area, much like the one above. He says, this area, he points at the first door ahead of you. He goes, this is the bath area. He says, over here, he says, that is the wine, he goes, that's the cellar where we keep our wine. Mr. Marquesas, I believe you'll be staying there. Mr. Beholder's Bane, that's the library. You'll find that there's bedrooms attached to each of these rooms. He points at the other door. He says, that door over there is for the practice areas. He goes, I suppose that's where the mistress will be conducting your more physical studies. Here's a key for both of you. He hands you a silver key for both of you.
All right.
Now, do be aware that if you decide to leave the tower, it says only the mistress has the ability to open the door from the outside. Keep that in mind. So, if you decide to leave, make sure that there's a way to either get back in or that the mistress knows that you're leaving. Otherwise, you might be waiting outside for some time.
One question on the outside here. What is there on the outside of the tower that might find dangerous in case we did find ourselves out there?
Oh, there's nothing dangerous. I just don't want you to be out in a storm for hours at a time catching your death of cold. That's all.
Gotcha.
Because the mistress is very, very certain to make sure that the island is free of any kind of predatory creature. In fact, her sentries have eyes out there, even there. So before I take my leave of you and begin to bring your belongings down here, I'll take the liberty of showing you to each of your actual rooms inside of these chambers. He opens the first door to the winery, and what you see is there's a long hallway, and along the wall is all kinds of these kegs and a gigantic rack full of bottles. He says, you may help yourself to any of these except for this rack. He points at the top rack at the end. He goes, please don't partake of that without the mistress's permission. He says,
no problem.
My understanding is that they're very rare vintages, and some of them may be of a magical nature.
No
There's
problem. I don't drink wine.
No, you don't, he says, but I know that gnomes enjoy partaking of libations from now and again. He says, he looks on the left-hand side of the wall, and he opens the door that's there. This is the bedroom. He opens up, there's a small apartment suite in there. It's like maybe a 20 by 20 room. There's a very comfortable bed in there, a desk, a wall unit, a table. There's a carafe in there with a silver platter on top of it, full of water, some cutlery and things. It says, every morning, noon, and night that you are here, you can expect me to come. I'll knock on your door first and to bring you dinner if you haven't already had it with the mistress somewhere else. This is your suite, Mr. Marquesas. He goes, at the bottom of that trunk, he says that is that is lockable using the key to your room. If you have any valuables that you wish to keep there that perhaps you're worried about the tower being broken into or something.
Okay.
He turns around, walks away. He says, Mr. Beholder...
Is the egg in the room?
No, not yet. He says he was still making trips, remember, before he comes back.
I don't know if he had that first or not. So, okay.
No, he goes, Mr. Beholder's Bane, please follow me. He walks you over to the other side. And this room area is much like Arian's area when he opens up the door. There's a large library there. All four walls have built-in bookshelves into the stone. All of them are all colors, shapes, sizes of tomes written in all sorts of languages. You may read any of these that you wish at your own recognizance, he says. The magical tomes and the more dangerous ones are kept upstairs at the mistress's own personal library. This is more of a research library. You see very comfortable-looking chairs inside of there. Torches on the walls. He walks over, and there's a door on the other side of the wall. He opens it up. He says, and this is your suite here. And it's the exact same as Ariana's was. Much like yours, much like I told Mr. Marquesas, every morning, noon, I forgot that you're a gnome. Every morning, midday, mid-evening, and night, I'll bring you some dinner as well.
Splendid.
Is there any sort of foods that you don't particularly wish to have, or that you would wish to have more? I know that you like marzipan. I'll make sure that we have some fresh marzipan ready.
No, I'm okay.
Good. I just want to make sure that you're comfortable here. The mistress believes that comfort is important to appropriate study, and I'm sure that she would extend that same kind of gesture to you.
Is there a pool?
Yes, there is in the bath area. Would you like to see it?
Yeah, please.
He walks over and leads you to the bath area. There is a closet that's in there, and he says, "This is the privy." He looks over to the left, and in that area is like a natural cave cut out, and there's like a spring in it. He says, "These are the natural springs," and he looks over to the right, and there is a stone, like a 5-foot pool that's in there. And he says, "This is the pool. Both can be relaxed and both can be heated at your wishes."
Now, do they connect to the ocean at all?
No.
Okay. Would they be big enough to bring Aurora?
The pool she could be in. She could fit in the pool. She wouldn't be able to go anywhere. It'd be like putting a dolphin inside of a bathtub, but you could put her in there.
Cool. Okay.
Okay. He says, "And my name is Eves. If you ever wish anything, you have any need of me, please just call." You'll notice in your room, in each of your rooms, if you remember the silver bell that I chimed to summon the mistress, all you have to do is ring the silver bell, and I'll be forthcoming as soon as I'm able. He leads you back upstairs. Door opens up as soon as you guys walk upstairs, and you see the serpent walking in. He's got some of the bags. Eves looks aghast at the fact that he goes, "Relax, Eves. I just figured I'd lessen the load." Starts putting some stuff down. He goes, claps him on the shoulder. He goes, "You're getting older." He goes, "My friend," he says, "you need to learn to take it a little bit easier." Looks over at the two of you. Says, "So, did you like your accommodations?"
Acceptable, and I'm guessing if we're training, we won't see much of them anywhere to sleep.
He nods. "Yeah, that's pretty much that's pretty much the truth." He says, "Well, I'm going to be putting you through, at least in your case, your paces, Arion. As for you, Brixton," he goes, "I'm sure the mistress," she just kind of smiles a little bit. "Oh, I have some lessons in store for Brixton. There's much he must learn." Brixton, you see, unfortunately, has been taught by trainers who don't believe in the fundamental underpinnings of symbolic magic. He needs a very in-depth education to bring him up to speed exactly on what he can expect and what he doesn't expect.
So it's a good thing I'm in the library then, isn't it?
You might even think that was done purposely. She looks over at Arion. "Arion," she says, "so that you know, you can, because as a ranger, I would expect that you'll be taking constitutional walks about the island from now and again. Don't be surprised if you see another boat dock. I'm expecting more company. Obviously, my skill set is, it's good to teach you what I can, Brixton, but there's a whole part of your acumen that I can't teach you.
That's fine.
The same with you, Arion. But I've called in some more friends.
Okay.
They're coming to teach you, but they haven't quite arrived yet. My understanding is, as we speak right now, they're on the mainland."
All right. Might I ask, since I'm allowed to use the library as well?
Of course you can. You can go anywhere you wish within the tower for the exception of upstairs.
Just don't let him at the brandy.
Yeah, does that mean I can help myself to the cellar?
You can help yourself to the cellar for the exception of the bottles that are in the far rack. Eves, I would have expected you would have said something about that. He looks totally mortified.
He did.
Now, far is a matter of based on where you're located.
She looks at you like, what?
Well, because if I'm right next to the rack, they're no longer the far rack.
I'm just shaking my head.
Mr. Beholdersbane, she says, you do realize that it's a very important tenet of a magi to be of sound intellect, yes?
Oh, I'm just a clown.
Yes, so I've heard. It was very fun. Now, I'll be taking my leave of you for the time being, for the evening. I need to study these belongings that you're bringing to make sure that to see what we're interested in and what we're not. She looks over at the serpent, Mr. von Erickson. If you would join me in about 2 hours, I should have some answers.
I'm gonna put the cloak to boots.
Outside, you can hear rain slapping against the high winds outside. Rain slapping against the tower.
And I'm gonna put the Ioun's medallion in there.
Okay. Oh, so you put the boots and the cloak and everything in there?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go ahead.
I'll tell her that
you put everything in there.
Yeah.
She looks over at Eves. She says, Eves, you'd best hurry if you want to get the rest of the belongings. I don't want their things to get wet, and we need to hurry. Yes, mistress. He kind of walks out in a hurry with his cart. Serpent kind of shrugs his shoulders and says, well, I tried to get him for him. I'm sure he appreciated it. Eves just takes his responsibilities very seriously. Gentlemen, you are on your own for the time being within the tower. Please make yourselves at home. Try not to get into too much trouble. She looks over at the both of you, although there's really not too much down there to get into trouble with. So,
am I able to take a quick walk to the ocean?
If you wish, of course. As I said, feel free to walk about as you will. There is something I do need to tell you, though. I'm surprised Eves didn't mention this. He's really not in poor form lately. If you leave the tower, please let me know that you're leaving the tower so I can let you back in.
That's why I was letting you know. Eves told us to let you know, so I'm telling you.
I understand. Very good then. I'll be sure to let you back in.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Kind of Ariane, you hear the serpent kind of mumbles over to you in your ear. He says, magic trick. He goes, it's not a conventional lock. So you wait for the door to open. Brixton, you end up leaving. Where are you going to go?
I'm gonna go grab Aurora and see if she wants to be in the pool. See how that feels for a little bit.
You walk over to the shore and you kind of pass Eves as you're walking up there. He's got the cart pushing all the stuff. This time you see the egg box on it and stuff like that. Being very careful with it as he said he would. You get to the ocean and you feel Aurora's connection. She rises up out of the water. Just dripping off of her, like it's hard to tell where she begins and the ocean ends. Very majestic look to her. She looks you in the eye, kind of tilts her head when you kind of send that feeling over the connection, whether she wants to be in it. The feeling you get back is she just wants to be close to you. So if that gets her close to you, then yes. Yeah,
I figured. So I'm gonna put her in the bag and.
Okay, put the bag down. You see this whole water just kind of slither into there. The whole bag fills up to the top. You see an extraneous copper piece floating around in there now.
He's got a water weird,
right? So that bag has been the best thing that I did, I think, so far.
So you end up taking Aurora back to the tower. Knock on with the knocker again. And door opens up. She's back there behind the door. Please come in.
So I just have to.
Oh, it's Eves, not Igor, right?
No, no, not Igor. So you that's Frankenstein. So what will you guys like to do? Everybody's going their separate ways now. The serpent's going upstairs now with her. Actually, I take that back. He says, I'm going to walk the island for a while. He goes, I've been cooped up in here for a bit. And he leaves out the door. Go ahead, Brixton.
I'm gonna put Aurora in the pool I'm going to grab a couple books and kind of read and see if I can figure out what my feather does at the same time.
You put her into kind of spill her out into the pool. She occupies almost the entire pool, but the weird thing is the water doesn't displace out when she's in. It almost like it becomes like a part of her. It's really strange how it works. Like she's like possessing the water almost when you pour her in there. As for you, Ariane, what would you like to do?
As he's about to walk out the door, I said, if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind joining you, number one, to get outside and just to get a lay of it, and if you don't mind.
No,
if you want privacy,
he says, I'd like to get a chance to know you better anyway.
All right.
So you guys walk outside, and door closes up behind you. And for right now, he goes, that's where I'm going to cut us off for the evening session. Brixton, you're studying. Downstairs, you're outside, David, with the serpent. In the next session, you guys will find out exactly what the price of your training will be, and you'll get to meet your last 2 trainers. So that should be a lot of fun. We've gotten you to the island. You guys have seen what it's like. There's a lot of cool stuff here. It's got its own real interesting vibe. So I hope you guys had a good time tonight. Everybody that was watching us out there, thank you for tuning in. Wu-Tang Piglet, Lamashu, I really appreciate Wiley Hobbit, and especially little Colleen, if you're still out there. D&D is such a fun hobby. It's I know there wasn't a lot of combat in this one, so maybe it wasn't very kinetic for you. I apologize about that, but keep tuning in to us, and you'll see some action here pretty soon. But I sort of envy you in a way, because you're just beginning down the road to something that has changed my life absolutely, and it's become such a big part of my life, and something I absolutely love. So
may I interject something for whoever else is there? As far as I'm concerned, and in my experience with D&D, AD&D, combat isn't always the most fun thing. A lot of times, you need a balance of combat. You need a balance of thinking. And
what prevents our game from being
you've got to have real life situations there. It's not just basically room to room to room to room.
Right. What makes our game different than anything else, makes the first Betrayal different than any other game you'll find out there, is the lore that's involved. The stuff that we do individually, the things that shape it. And to do that, you have to set the stage for those kind of actions to happen. So you have these kind of non-kinetic sessions like this. So, but then again, thank you so much. Wu-Tang, anytime you want to show up here and talk World of Greyhawk, be my guest, because that's meat and drink to me, man. I absolutely love Greyhawk, and I could talk it all day. But for my players tonight, David Aho, Ariane Marquesas, Matthew Lazinski, Brixton Beholdersbane, I'm Carlos A.S. Lysing, your Dungeon Master, and thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Be sure, if you can, tune in on Monday. I've got the play test going of From Dark Roses, Black Thorns Grow, which was my newest published module, and I think you guys are going to love it. So enjoy and have a good evening. Have a good 4th of July, everyone that celebrates it. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.